Let's do it. הנה מה טוב ומה נעים שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב ומה נעים שבת אחים גם יחד. Join with us. הנה מה טוב ומה נעים שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב ומה נעים שבת אחים גם יחד. Repeat after me. How good it is, how sweet it is, to be together on this day. How good it is, how sweet it is, to be together on this day. הנה מה טוב, הנה מה טוב ומה נעים שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב ומה נעים שבת אחים גם יחד. How good it is, how sweet it is, to be together on this day. How good it is, how sweet it is, to be together on this day. Shalom Aleichem, Salam Aleikum, Shalom Aleichem, Salam Aleikum. Do that again. Shalom Aleichem, Salam Aleikum, Shalom Aleichem, Salam Aleikum. Hine ma tov ומה נעים שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב ומה נעים שבת אחים גם שבת אחים שבת אחים גם יחד. One more time. שבת אחים גם יחד.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
Let's do it again. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
Amazing, you guys. I'm really sorry. It was so hot this week, and I prayed for rain.
Rabbi,
I didn't
we
specify the timing.
are in marketing, not manufacturing.
Dang
Let's just
it.
get that straight. Okay.
I did it wrong. It's so nice to be here with all of you on this Shabbat. I'm Rabbi Hyatt. This is Rabbi Black. We are excited to be praying with you this evening. Just so you know, we have been talking and figuring out all of the plans. This is not the first time that it has rained or stormed on Shabbat when we're in the tent. If it becomes in any way unsafe, we'll let you know. Your rain plan is to get in your car and wait for the lightning to pass, and then we'll come back together. So just so you know, this is an aluminum pole tent. We should be just fine in here. We are.
Unless lightning strikes.
and it's like staked really in. So we're good. We're good in here, and the guys lock down all the gear. So with that, it is so, like we said, so nice to be here. It's not 100 degrees, so I'm stoked about it. We are this weekend, this Shabbat, celebrating the becoming bar mitzvah of one Brody Goldsmith. And so we are so excited to have his family with us celebrating today. Brody, you have to look excited.
Brody, we want to see energy. We want the enthusiasm.
In a second, I'm going to call you up to light some candles with me. We are also celebrating the Fleischmans becoming bar and bat mitzvah, and we will be celebrating with them tomorrow morning. Just so everybody knows, turn around, look at that camera, and wave hi and say Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
We've got lots of people joining us from not inside this tent, where they are probably more confident about the dryness of the next hour.
But they don't have this wonderful breeze.
Right, but there's that. So let's begin by lighting candles, by bringing light into this surprisingly cloudy evening. So I'm going to call up Brody and his family, his mom and dad and his brother. Come on up, and we are going to light these candles. You ready?
While we're lighting candles, I want to introduce Ken Mervine, our wonderful accompanist. Shabbat Shalom, Ken. We're also taking an over-under on how long those candles are going to stay lit in this one. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam Asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel Shabbat.
You want to hang on to that? No, he didn't like the binder clip in his hair.
I don't blame him.
So weird.
Matches the kippah,
It'll
though.
keep your yarmulke on. Mazel tov, you guys.
Mazel
We're so
tov.
excited to celebrate this Shabbat with you. Thank you for your amazing candle lighting. You guys can have a seat, and we'll see you later for Kiddush, sir. And so with that, let's put ourselves really in this Shabbat space. Everybody take a deep breath with me. It smells good. It smells like rain. And we are going to read these words responsively. There are days when we seek things for ourselves and measure failure by what we do not gain. Together,
On Shabbat, we seek not to acquire,
but to share. There are days when we exploit nature as if it were a horn of plenty that can never be exhausted.
On Shabbat, we stand in wonder before the mystery of creation.
There are days when we act as if we cared nothing for the rights of others. On
Shabbat, we remember that justice is our duty
and a better world our goal. So we embrace Shabbat, day of rest, day of wonder, day of peace.
And we welcome Shabbat. Oh, and actually, we welcome each other with Shiru Ladonai Shir Chadash. Sing unto God a new song. So we welcome Shabbat like we welcome the freshness of rain on a hot summer day, with anticipation, with joy, with appreciation, with new awareness. Shlomo Alkabetz, who wrote the hymn Lecha Dodi, put his name in it. As each of us should put our name into Shabbat, it should be a part of who we are. We welcome it with joy as we would welcome a bride. And so we sing Lecha Dodi Likrat Kala Penei Shabbat Mekabela. Kick it off, Ken. Lecha Dodi Likrat Kala Penei Shabbat Mekabela. Lecha Dodi Likrat Kala Penei Shabbat Mekabela. Shamor v'zachor b'diburecha ishmihanu el hamiuchad. Adonai echad u'shmo echad v'shemu tiferet v'letchila. Lecha Dodi Likrat Kala Penei Shabbat Mekabela. Lecha Dodi Kala Penei Shabbat Mekabela. Likrat Shabbat lechu v'nelcha ki mekor haberacha berosh mikedem nesucha sof ma'aseh b'machshava techila. Lecha Dodi Likrat Kala Penei Shabbat Mekabela. Lecha Dodi Likrat Kala Penei Shabbat Mekabela. Hitoreri, 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 ki ba'urech uri, 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 shir daveri, kevod Adonai alayich nigla. Lecha Dodi Likrat Kala Penei Shabbat Penei Shabbat Mekabela. Lecha Dodi Likrat Kala Penei Shabbat Mekabela. We rise as we are able, and we turn to face however you came into the tent as we greet the Shabbat bride. Bo'i Kala, Bo'i Veshalom, Ateret Bala, Gam Besimcha Uvtzola, Toch Emudei Am Segula. Bo'i Kala, Bo'i Kala. Turn back and sing. Lecha Dodi Likrat Kala Penei Shabbat Mekabela. Lecha Dodi Likrat Kala Penei Shabbat Mekabela. One more time. Lecha Dodi Likrat Kala Penei Shabbat Mekabela. Lecha Dodi Likrat Kala Penei Shabbat Mekabela. We remain standing for the call to worship. Baruch Hu. Yai lai lai, yai lai lai lai, yai lai 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 lai. Yai lai lai, yai lai lai lai, yai lai lai yai lai lai lai. Yai lai lai lai, yai lai lai, yai lai lai yai lai lai lai, lai 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 lai. Yai lai 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 lai, yai lai lai yai lai lai lai, lai yai lai lai lai. Barechu et Adonai Hamevorach. Baruch Adonai Hamevorach le'olam va'ed. Baruch Adonai Hamevorach le'olam va'ed. Yai lai lai, yai lai lai lai, yai lai lai yai lai lai lai. Yai lai lai, yai lai lai lai, yai lai lai yai lai lai lai.
Praise to you, Adonai our God, from whom the evening flows. Your wisdom sets the way on which time and season glide. Your breath guides the sail of the stars. Creator of the tide of time and light, you guide the current of day into night. As heaven spans to infinity, you set its course for eternity. Praise to you, Adonai our God, from whom the evening flows. Baruch atah Adonai Hama'ariv Aravim.
Ahavat olam Beit Yisrael Amecha ahavta. We are love, 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 Emanuel. By unending love, unending love. Ahavat olam Beit Yisrael Amecha ahavta. We are love, love, love. By unending love, unending love.
As you taught Torah to those whose name I bear, teach me Torah too. Its mystery beckons, yet I struggle with its truth. You meant Torah for me. Did you mean the struggle for me too? Don't let me struggle alone. Help me to understand, to be wise, to listen, to know. Lead me into the mystery. Baruch atah Adonai habocher ba'amo Yisrael ba'ahava.
Ahavat olam Beit Yisrael Amecha ahavta. We are love, love, love. By unending love, unending love. Ahavat olam Beit Yisrael Amecha ahavta. We are love, love, love. By unending love, unending love. This is a new piece. We debuted it last Shabbat morning. This is the first time we've sung it Friday night. The words V'ha'er einenu b'toratecha, enlighten our eyes with your Torah, and let our hearts cling to your mitzvot. V'ha'er einenu b'toratecha, ודבק ליבנו במצוותיך, ויחל לבבינו לאהבה. ולהירא את שמך, ולא נבוש, ולא ניכלם, ולא ניכשל לעולם ועד, ולא נבוש, ולא ניכלם, ולא ניכלם, ולא ניכשל לעולם ועד. והאר עינינו, והאר עינינו בתורתך, ודבק ליבנו במצוותיך, במצוותיך, ויחל לבבינו לאהבה. וליראה את שמך, וליראה את שמך, ולא נבוש, ולא ניכלם, ולא ניכשל לעולם ועד, ולא נבוש, ולא נבוש, ולא ניכלם, ולא ניכשל לעולם ועד, לעולם ועד. שמע ישראל, אדוני אלוהינו, אדוני אחד. שמע ישראל, אדוני אלוהינו, אדוני אחד, אדוני אחד. ברוך שם כבוד, שם כבוד מלכותו, לעולם ועד. שמע ישראל אלוהינו, אדוני אחד. בבקשה לשבת, please be seated, we pray together. ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך, והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם לאות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם. אמת.
Standing on the parted shores of history, we still believe what we were taught before ever we stood at Sinai's foot. That wherever we go, it is eternally Egypt. That there is a better place, a promised land. That the winding way to that promise passes through the wilderness. That there is no way to get from here to there except by joining hands and marching together.
Start it. Elim Adonai, lai 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 lai, ya lai 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 ya lai lai lai. Mi chamocha, 2, 3. Mi chamocha ba Elim Adonai, mi chamocha nedar bakodesh, nora tehino osef elem, nora tehino. מלכותך רעובנך, רוקע ים לפני משה ומרים, זה אלינו ואמרו, זה אלינו ואמרו, אדוני איתו לעולם ועד, אדוני איתו לעולם ועד. Yai lai lai, yai lai 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 lai, yai lai 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 lai, yai lai 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 yai lai lai lai, yai lai lai lai, yai lai lai lai.
Thus it is said, Adonai redeemed Jacob from a hand stronger than his own. Praised are you, Adonai, for redeeming Israel. Baruch atah Adonai Ga'al Yisrael. God, thank you for joy and delight, for wonder and awe, for moments of gladness and celebration. Grant me the ability to breathe gentleness into my hours and seasons so that I live awake to beauty, to holiness, to the radiance that surrounds us. Grant me the wisdom to arrive each day with passion and humor, with song and dance, with smiling eyes, in service to myself, in service to others, in service to your holy name.
שומר שבת, ישמחו במלכותך, שומר שבת, וקורא עונג, וקורא עונג, ישמחו במלכותך, שומר שבת, עם מקדשי, מקדשי שבי, כולם ישביעו ויתענגו מטובך, ישמחו במלכותך, שמר שבת. ישמחו במלכותך, שמר שבת. וקורא עונג, וקורא עונג, ישמחו במלכותך, שמר שבת. והשביעי רצית בו, רצית בו וקידשתו, חמדת ימים אותו קראת, זכר למעשה וראשית. ישמחו במלכותך, שומר שבת. ישמחו, ישמחו במלכותך, שומר שבת. וקורא עונג, וקורא עונג, ישמחו במלכותך, שומר שבת. ישמחו במלכותך, שומר שבת. Shabbat, Shomerei Shabbat.
Prayer invites God's presence to suffuse our spirits, God's will to prevail in our lives. Prayer may not bring water to parched fields, nor mend a broken bridge, nor rebuild a ruined city. But prayer can water an arid soul, mend a broken heart, or rebuild a weakened will. We rise as we are able, as we prepare for the tefillah.
Adonai, Sifatai Tifta, Ufi Hagi, Tehilatecha. Adonai, Sifatai Tifta, Ufi Hagi, Tehilatecha. Open up my lips and let my mouth declare your praises. Adonai, Sifatai Tifta, Ufi Hagi, Tehilatecha. Adonai, Sifatai Tifta, Ufi Hagi, Tehilatecha. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu ve'Elohei Avoteinu ve'Imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, ve'Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, ve'Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor ve'Hanora, El Elyon, גומל חסדים טובים וקונה הכל וזוכר חסדי אבות ואימהות ומביא גאולה לבני בניהם למען שמו באהבה מלך עוזר ומושיע ומגן ברוך אתה אדוני מגן אברהם ועזרת שרה אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני מחיה הכל אתה רב להושיע מוריד הטל מכלכל חיים בחסד מחיה הכל ברחמים רבים סומך נופלים ורופא חולים ומתיר אסורים ומקיים אמונתו לישני עפר מי כמוך בעל גבורות ומי דומה לך מלך ממית ומחיה ומצמיח ישועה ונאמן אתה לחיות הכל ברוך אתה אדוני מחיה הכל אתה קדוש ושמך קדוש וקדושים בכל יום יהללו חסלה ברוך אתה אדוני האל הקדוש. Please be seated. Do you have the list? Yeah.
We take a moment now for our Misha Berach prayer, our prayer for healing, thinking of those that we know and love or that we don't know and send love to that are in need of healing on this Shabbat evening. And so as usual, In between our verses, we'll read our list of names that we know of and ask you if there are any others. And so we pray together. Zachary Hoffman, David Karner, David Goldenberg, Stuart Myers, Catherine Plus, Jean Silber, Scott Englander, Stacy Hoffman, Corey Franklin, Brian John Miller, Phyllis Schulman, Eric Dellenbach, Becky Mitchell, Jeffrey Karras, Hal Malin, Jim Estaby, James Tepper, Cheryl Lunning, Donald Gross, Christina Clark, Raymond Bell, Douglas Hamilton, Alan Davidson, Sikita Vatuk, Shanti Hazan, Howard Rosenberg, Deborah Alenikoff, Alex Busnovetsky, Ellie Greenberg, Lori Goldman, Larry Ambrose, Mike Kabuti, Laura Culver, Sylvia Goodman, Jerry Luckton, Cindy Friedland, Josh Hepner, Jared Siegel, Ernie Stone, and Carol Weiner. And now I invite you to share any names of loved ones that you are thinking of today.
The Pepper family.
If you're at home watching, say those names out loud, type them in on Facebook, hold them in your heart so we can hold them together with you. Baruch atah Adonai makor harefuah. Blessed are you, God, the source of all healing.
Pray together.
We take a moment now to the sound of the rain for our own silent prayer. Those words that we have not yet said that are in your minds or your hearts. We come back together in a moment.
Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Sing that again. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Ki ata hu melech Adon lechol hashalom. Ki ata hu melech Adon lechol hashalom. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. V'tov beinecha levarech et amecha Yisrael bechol עת ובכל שעה בשלומך. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav, Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Tasim Leolam. Tasim Leolam.
So we take a moment now to talk about our Torah portion this week and learn a little bit about what it is that we're reading in the Torah. We're at Parashat Eikev. It's the third Torah portion in the book of Deuteronomy. Isn't this so nice? You get to sit down. That's why you're in charge. So we're in Parashat Eikev. It's the third Torah portion. We're the third week into Deuteronomy. Don't forget, Deuteronomy is the last book of the Torah. And in my mind, okay, so you guys, this is Neil's last day of preschool. I can't not tell you that today was his very last day here at Temple Emanuel, and he's got a lot of days off, and then he starts kindergarten. And I'm so overwhelmed by it, and he's going to the day school, and he's never going to ride a school bus, which is fine. But in my mind, the reason I'm telling you that is because in my mind, the entire book of Deuteronomy is Moses, who's mom, and the people of Israel, who are the kindergartner on the first day of kindergarten. And Moses is putting the people of Israel on the school bus, and it's about to drive away. And Moses is like running behind the school bus, and the kid's like, "Oh my God, Mom." And running behind the bus, yelling in the open window, like, "Don't forget to wash your hands and be nice to everybody and say please and thank you and sit in the front and listen carefully and eat all your lunch, but share your lunch and make friends," right? Like Moses is just bellowing in the window all of these reminders at the people of Israel, trying desperately to make sure that everything that he's taught them over the last 4 books of the Torah, they don't forget. Because Moses doesn't get to go in. Right? And they're going to go in at the end of this book of the Torah. And so Moses is just desperate to remind them of all of these things. So that's what's happening. That's the image that I have in my head. And so there's a lot of reminders in Eikev of the rules that have been given and the things that the people of Israel have done wrong and the consequences that happen, and the reminder that it will get really bad if they don't follow the rules, but they should follow the rules and good things will happen. That's what's happening. So we get to chapter 8 of Deuteronomy, and there is this very famous line that happens, and the line in Hebrew is, Ve'achalta v'savata uverachta. And if you are a camp kid growing up, you might recognize that. It comes from Birkat Hamazon, which is the grace after meals, the blessing that we say after meals. It doesn't come from that. That's why we recognize it. It comes from Deuteronomy, and the Birkat Hamazon, the blessing after the meals, borrowed it from Deuteronomy. Ve'achalta v'savata uverachta, which means, and you should eat. Ve'achalta, usavata, and you should be satisfied. Uverachta, and you should bless. And it says those three things in that order. You should eat, you should be satisfied, and then you should bless. Which makes sense to us. But it's actually also a really beautiful way to think about the idea of what it means to have gratitude. That you should eat, do the thing first, realize that it has filled you, that it has given you energy, that you are satisfied, and then when you acknowledge that, then you can say thank you and have gratitude. But what's interesting is that that line, that verse in the Torah doesn't stand alone. It actually comes amongst a whole bunch of things that are being said. That's the first one, eat, be satisfied, and bless. The second one is that you should build good houses and then you should live in them. Good advice. Don't build good houses and not live in them. And then it says, when your herd multiplies and your flock prospers, and you prosper. And when your gold and silver increase and you prosper. All these lines come. So what it really says in the text is, eat and be satisfied. Build a house and live in it. Have a job and do well at it and prosper. And then it says, in the text, V'zacharta et Adonai Elohecha ki hu hanoten lecha koach. Remember that it was God who gave you koach. So really, I think what the text, in its most traditional sense, is telling us is all of these things. Eat, be satisfied, build a house, live in it, have a strong, flock of goats, and have lots of gold and silver, and remember that God gave you all of it. Right? But that's not really how I understand God, and really not my theology. But if you read the text carefully, I'm not sure that's what's in the text either, because it says, because God is the one, hanoten lecha koach, that gave you koach, which we translate as strength. Koach means strength. It's one of many words that we have for strength. So it doesn't say because God gave you the food, because God gave you the house, because God gave you the goat, and because God gave you the gold. It says because God gave you strength. So what does that mean? What is koach? What is this strength? So our rabbis have a lot of, shocking, I know, different opinions about how we're supposed to understand the word koach, strength, and what it means. And what do they say? They say, if we look in our liturgy, those are the prayers that we say, and in our tradition, we see that koach means a lot of different things. One of the things that it means, we'll say tomorrow morning in our community service, it says hanoten, talking about God, hanoten leya'ef koach, that gives strength to the weary. And that's what koach is. It's not strength like might or power, it's strength when you are weary. Another one of our rabbis says that koach is not physical power. It's not might in that same way. There's other words for that. And that koach means the strength to maintain a given state of being. Strength to maintain a given state of being. To withstand, says this rabbi, Rabbi Yaakov Zvi Mecklenburg, the strength to withstand external forces. So think about the wind that we just felt rush through here and all of the equipment that we were like, please don't fall, right? The strength of the straps that are holding up the speakers is enormous. They're not doing anything. They're not pulling anything. They're not lifting anything. They're not moving anything. They are withstanding. external force, which actually takes an enormous amount of power. They're just maintaining the status quo, which is that they're up and not down, please God, right, Sean? Yeah. That's what Rabbi Mecklenburg says about koach. Another one of our sages tells us that koach actually means mental fortitude, which fits in, right? When you give strength to the weary, when you withstand whatever's going on outside, that's mental fortitude, not physical fortitude. And there's this line from a poem that sometimes gets said on Friday night during Kabbalat Shabbat called Ana B'Koach, which is one of my favorite Friday night prayers from growing up. And the first line, it's this crazy mystical poem, but the first line says, Ana B'Koach Gedulat Yamincha Tatir Tzerura. Ana means answer, us. B'Koach means in strength or with strength. Gedulat Yamincha means with the greatness of your right hand. Your right hand is the hand that connects you to God. Tatir Tzerura, which means and free the captive. Ana B'Koach, answer us in strength and free the captive. That's the kind of strength that we're talking about, the strength to create freedom. And our mystical sages, a different set of sages, say about Ana B'Koach that the theme of that poem is really about spiritual renewal. It's not talking about freeing the captive from a physical jail. It's talking about how we spiritually renew ourselves. So essentially, we've given ourselves a really bunch of different answers about what koach means, but here's what we said. We said that koach means strength when you are weary. Koach means mental fortitude. Koach means withstanding external forces, staying where you are. Koach means spiritual renewal. Back to our parsha. I think what this text is telling us is that it's a lot of work to make sure that you have food so that you can eat and be satisfied and then maybe blessed. It's a lot of work to build a home where you feel safe so that you can live in it. It's a lot of work to make so many goats. It's a lot of work to earn so much gold. And we need koach. It's hard, and maybe it's understandable that we're a little exhausted doing all of that work. But the text tells us the point is not to grow the food, to build the house, to feed the livestock, to earn the gold. The goal, is to eat it, to live in it, to be safe, to be comfortable, to have resources, to take a breath, to enjoy all of that. The point is to live, not to worry about the earning, the building, the making, the growing. And I can't help but think in this about Simone Biles this week. And I don't know if you are a really excellent not pop culture current news person, so I'll tell you what happened, which is that she is, as we say, a different kind of goat, which is the greatest of all time. She's like the best gymnast that ever has existed, and they're naming all these crazy moves after her. And she got up during the Olympics, went to go do a vault, and didn't feel it. Got confused in the air, did half the twists and turns that she was supposed to do, and then she pulled out. She said, I'm not here, I'm not in it, I don't have it right now. I don't have the mental fortitude, I don't have the spiritual strength. She's strong enough physically, but that's not the point. She's tired. She's mentally tired. She didn't have all of her ducks in a row. And the point is not to just keep going. It's not to just keep eating. It's not to just keep building. It's not just to keep earning more goats and gold. The point is to be in it, to feel it, to excel at it, to be comfortable, to enjoy it, to eat, to be satisfied, and to bless. And I can't tell you how powerful it has been for me as a working single mom to see the support that she has gotten for the break. I think we all feel that, working, single, parent, or otherwise, right? That the work is hard and that we're exhausted. And gosh, after the last year and a half, we're exhausted. I think we spent the last year and a half eating to eat, not eating to enjoy, and building to build or to survive, not building to feel comfortable and to appreciate. I think we have been surviving, not thriving. And our text is telling us it's okay to be exhausted, and that all of this work that we are doing, all of the building that we are doing, the point of it is so that we can help to give each other koach, that strength, that fortitude, that energy when we are weary. If nothing else, we stand together so that we can together withstand the external forces, so that we just don't move. And I'm guessing that most of you are also thinking that the world feels different today than it did last week, and it feels different today than it did 2 weeks ago. And you will hear us in a moment, when we're done with the service, make an announcement about high holidays that says, stay tuned. We'll see. We're going to keep everybody safe, and we don't know what that looks like yet, but we're figuring it out, and we're paying attention, and we're trying. And so I feel anxiety at the fear of exhaustion that I think I felt last year. I feel worried that I'm going to get back to the place of exhausted and just surviving, because this summer, being in this tent with you has felt like more. It's felt like being satisfied. It's felt like blessing. And so I'll tell you one more thing. There's one more understanding of the word koach that comes from the Zohar, which is one of these crazy mystical texts that sometimes teaches us things that are totally whack and sometimes has brilliance. And the Zohar teaches us about koach, that what it means is potential. That koach means potential. The word for wisdom in Hebrew is chokhmah. Choch comes from koach. Ma means what is to be. And so wisdom is the potential for what is, for what might be. And so at this juncture of this moment where we're seeing the product of the exhaustion, we're seeing the hope that we're going to be together, we're seeing the fear that perhaps it's not that moment yet, and perhaps we're not quite as ready as we thought we were, and we're seeing that we are ready to go out and to be satisfied and to bless and to continue to open our doors and our arms to our friends. We are seeing that maybe it's not about this moment, it's about the potential, because God gave us koach. That's why we were able to make it through the last year, because we were able to grow and build and be together the best way that we knew how. And now we take the wisdom that we have learned. We don't lose the potential that we have grown, the koach that God gave us. That's why we did it, because God gave us brains in our heads. And that is the ability to look honestly at the world and make safe, good choices. I think what's going to come is going to feel scary. Not crazy, but it's going to feel like a step back. But we have wisdom. We have koach. We have the potential to know how to take care of ourselves, how to take care of each other, how to make the right choice at the right moment, how to take the break when we need it, how to hold up someone who is exhausted, how to make the right move in the right moment for the right person at the right time, so that we will continue to use our koach, our strength, our wisdom, our potential, so that we can eat and be satisfied and say blessings of gratitude, all of us still safe, still here, still together. That's my blessing for us. Shabbat Shalom.
And we say Yasher Koach,
Yashir Koach.
which also is what or Yasher Kochech, which means may you be strengthened from the teaching that you've got us. And I was thinking also as you were speaking, Rabbi, beautiful, beautiful drash, that just before services, we had 2 telephone calls today. They were very nice telephone calls from 2 members of our congregation who felt that they wanted to give back to the congregation. They had eaten, they had blessed, they had been satisfied, and they wanted to share their blessings. So it was a very nice call to get at the end of the day. And I thought about what you were saying, that anyway, so that we have an opportunity. Yasher Kochech, beautifully, beautifully done.
Yeah.
We continue now as we rise, as we are able for Aleinu. Aleinu l'shabeach l'adon hakol, לתת גדולה ליוצא בראשית, שלא עשנו גויי הארצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגורלנו ככל המונם, ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא. בבקשה לשבת, please be seated. Our thoughts now turn to those who have departed this earth, our own loved ones, those whom our friends and neighbors have lost, the martyrs of our people whose graves are unmarked, and those of every race and every nation whose lives have been a blessing to humanity. And as we remember them, we meditate on the meaning of love and loss, of life and death. This has been a difficult week for our community. This week we've said farewell to Marilyn Bolton, to Marvin Friedman, to Donald Kortz, and to Stacy Pepper. And we link with their names those who were taken from us during the previous 30 days: Sandra Cook, Marcia Mendelson Gordon, Benny Litvak, David Lustig, and Sherwin Turner. And we remember those whose yahrzeit, the anniversary of whose death occurs at this time: Louis Alpert, Robert Begner, Milton J. Beinhorn, Bernard S. Bernstein, David Scott Barry, Simon Bitterman, Lyndon Harris Cohen, Louis Cohen, David Gordon Daniel, Esther Diamond, Charlotte Graber Dubin, Ida Lena Eber, Elizabeth Act, Hirsch Bear Feldman, Ann Felsen, Jeanette Fishman, Matthew Fox, Richard Frickless, Gordon Friednash, Sidney Goodman, Anna J. Greenbaum, Florence Greenberg Aranka Greer, Paul Wolfgang Gross, Louise Hanchett, Belle V. Hurst, Maury Heidelberg, Louis G. Isaacson, Albert Kahn, Andy Camlett, Marcia Missy Kelney, Samuel Klingstein, Philip J. Lasky, Morton Launder, Hyman Medow, Adolf D. Milstein, Philip M. Mobel, Arthur Pillersdorf, Seraphine Pisco, Anna Shore Pomerantz, Esther G. Quiet, Helen Robinson, Evelyn Paper Himmelgren Rodman, Jesse Schwader, Viola Silverberg, Sarah Sis Sobel, Howard J. Sobel, Chester Sobel, Adele Solander, Annie Fine Silver Spire, Gary Evans Steller, Dr. Harold S. Tuft, Dr. Rolf Wagshaw, Sam Winkler, Max A. Zellinger, and Al R. Zinn. We link with their names 10 of the 420 precious souls from the community of Kolin who are linked to our congregation through our finer chapel: Camille Fink, Leo Fink, Richard Fink, Evgeny Fischerova, Helena Finkova, Alfred Fischer, Arnost Fischer, Artur Fischer, Yiril Fischer, and Otto Fischer. Are there other names for whom Kaddish is being said on this Shabbat. Zichronam levracha, may their memories be for an eternal blessing. At this time I ask, if you have lost a loved one in the previous 30 days, to please rise now as you are able. I ask, if you are still in the 11-month period of mourning since the loss of a loved one, to please rise now as you are able. If you are observing a Yahrzeit, the anniversary of a death on this Shabbat, please rise now as you are able. If there are names for those you watching at home, write them in the chat as well. And now in solidarity, we all rise, as is our custom, on behalf of those for whom there is no one to say Kaddish, the mourners of our people and all people, as we join together in ancient words of the mourners' Kaddish. Yit gadal v'yit kadash shemei Rabba, b'alma divrach hir'utei v'yamlich malchutei, b'chayechon uvyomechon, uvchaye dechol beit Yisrael, ba'agala uvizman kari v'imru amen. Yehei shmei Rabba mevarach la'alam u'lalmei almaya, yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh, v'yithadar v'yit'aleh v'yithalal shmei dekud shabrechu. Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechemata, da'amiran bi'alma v'imru amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shmaya, v'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael, v'imru amen. Oseh shalom b'mramav, hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu v'al kol Yisrael, v'imru amen. And may the source of peace, who makes peace in places far beyond our knowing, send peace and comfort to all who mourn, comfort all who are bereaved here among us, wherever they may be, and let us all say, Amen. Oseh shalom bimromav, hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, v'yimeru amen.
A couple of announcements. I warned you about some of them already. Tomorrow, Shabbat continues, as it always does. 9:30 in the morning, Torah study with you, Rabbi Black, in the chapel. A reminder, if you have not gotten the memo yet, that we have decided that it is a lot of things to do Torah study in person and on Zoom and to stream it. It is complicated. And so, for the sake of everyone, we are going to move to Zoom for Torah study only for a little while. Hopefully, we will be able to move from Zoom to being in person in a little while for Torah study, and we will always continue to stream it. If you have questions about that, let us know. If you want to make sure that you get the Zoom link for Torah study on the regular, let us know. This is mostly like a complexity of the technology situation. It was a lot to do all three. We've learned that you can do any two pretty reasonably. 3, too many. So this is the last week of in-person Torah study with Rabbi Black in the chapel. And then at 11 o'clock, the community service with Rabbi Black and with Steve Brodsky. And then at 9 o'clock also, we will be celebrating the bar mitzvah of one Brody Goldsmith. Make a smile. Amazing. He's so excited he can't barely hold himself together. I see it happening. At 11:30, we will be celebrating the B'nai Mitzvah of Sydney and Charlie Fleischman. And then Shabbat will end, but it will come again next week. Never fear. I don't want to alarm anyone, but Elul starts super soon. That's the month that precedes Rosh Hashanah, and so we will be hosting weekly tent talks. Get it? Tent talks? Yes, thank you. You guys, you're awesome.
I came up with that name. I think it's very good.
Rabbi Black. Absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you.
And so we will be having Elul tent talks for the 4 weeks of Elul. The first one will be with me at 7 o'clock this coming Tuesday in the tent. You can register online or call if you don't know how to do that. Just let us know. 7 o'clock on Tuesday. High Holy Day information will continue to come through the month of August as we figure out what makes the most sense and keeps the most people safe, but also allows us to be spiritually, if not physically, the most together and praying and doing all the things that we need to be doing. So stay tuned with that. We're actively, obviously, monitoring the public health situation, and we'll certainly keep you posted as soon as we feel like we have good answers to give you. And as always, check the Facebook website, e-notes, carrier pigeons for all of the upcoming things.
Owls.
Owls, yeah, whatever it is.
Put some Harry Potter in there.
With that, I'm going to invite Brody up to help us lead Kiddush.
Okay. Wow, I get to hold a Kiddush cup when
because you're the cantor.
I'm not the cantor. Well, don't give me a promotion. I'm the soloist. You have to hold that higher, though. A little higher.
Do you want me to hold your wine so that you can poke him?
No, that's good. He's got it. All right. Together. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu v'shabbat kodsho b'ahava uvratzon hinchilanu zikaron lema'aseh v'reishit ki hu yom techila lemikra'ei kodesh זכר ליציאת מצרים כי בנו בחרת ואותנו קידשת מכל העמים ושבת קודשך באהבה וברצון הנחלתנו Baruch atah Adonai mekadesh ha-Shabbat. L'chaim, clink. L'chaim. It's grape juice. Have as much as you. Good job. Wow. And let's join together as we bless the mini challah rolls that we have here, beautifully, carefully, sanitarily wrapped. Baruch atah Adonai. Take one. Eloheinu melech haolam hamotzi lechem min haaretz b'te'avon. Bring this to your whole family. You can take all of those. Not the fancy plate, just the paper plate. We need that.
You want to save the fancy plate? We'll use it again next week.
Yeah.
Steve Stark would like me to remind you that registration for the High Holidays still opens on Monday, regardless of any changes that may be forthcoming. So don't forget that. Okay. Thank you.
We're going to conclude with Oseh Shalom. Oseh Shalom B'Roma, Hu Ya'aseh Shalom Aleinu Ve'al Kol Yisrael Ve'al Kol Yoshvei Tevel Ve'imru Amen. Oseh Shalom Shalom Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'al kol yoshvei tevel ve'imru Amen. Yai lai lai la la lai 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 ya lai 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 ya la lai 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 ya la lai 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 la la lai. Shalom Aleinu.
ratzon milfanecha, may it be your will, God, that this week we realize potential for togetherness, potential for being apart, potential for moving forward, and potential maybe for taking a couple of steps back, potential for a happy medium of doing things slowly and safely and reasonably so that we can be safe and protect each other. And so we ask your blessing, God. Tatzidenu l'shalom, help our steps be steps of peace and care. Tadrichenu l'shalom, help our paths be paths of peace so that we may all walk together for a very long time. We say together, Amen. And Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.